Hi, my name is Evan Tracy. In this video, I'll be showing you how to make and apply an improvised tourniquet. It's important to note that tourniquets are only to be used in severe, life-threatening blood loss situations. Tourniquets are not to be used on small, minor cuts. When applying a tourniquet, the tourniquet must be placed 2 to 3 inches above the wound, between the wound and the heart. It's important to note that tourniquets cannot be placed on the head, neck, chest, or stomach. Tourniquets can only be placed on either of the arms or legs. They can also not be placed on joints because joints completely make them ineffective and prevent the compression of blood. There are many different ways to making improvised tourniquets. The first one that I will be showing you is something that I think is very easy to do in many different situations because the materials are very easy to locate and can be found in many different ways. The materials you'll need for the first improvised tourniquet is a long piece of 2-inch wide fabric and a type of stick. I'm just using a wooden dowel that I snapped in half to be about 1 foot long. The reason why I think that this is probably the easiest one to do is simply because the materials can be found using many different things. This I got from the bottom of a t-shirt, and another thing to note is that the 2 inches is really only for durability reasons and to make sure that it holds up and cuts off as much blood flow as possible. But you can get fabric from anything, and then this can simulate a stick that you found in the woods, because when you're in a tornado, you don't know where you're gonna end up. You might end up in the middle of the woods, and so a simple stick that is sturdy and won't snap can do. We are going to assume that I have a severe wound right about here, meaning that our tourniquet will be applied 2 inches above that, right about here. The first step is to wrap your piece of fabric 2 inches above your wound, and you want to wrap it around your leg a couple of times. Then you want to tie a simple knot and pull it tight. You're going to place your stick over your first knot and then tie another knot around the stick to secure it between the two. The last step is to twist your stick until you can't twist it anymore. Once you cannot go any farther, take one of your pieces of fabric, wrap it around the stick, and pull it to the other side, and then tie another knot to prevent the stick from twisting back. It's important to note that you must twist the stick much more than I did in order to completely cut off blood flow. However, this is roughly what it should look like when you are completely done and have secured your tourniquet. The second and final method I'll be showing you to make an improvised tourniquet is using a belt. A belt is something that a lot of people have on hand, and if you have it on hand, that's great and you can use this. If you don't, you might want to use a different method, but this is a method that is really useful and is relatively easy to do if you know how to set it up properly, which I will be showing you how to do. So the first step is to make sure that your buckle part is completely open and that the prong is out of the way. It's also good to note that this method can be used whether it has a 2-sided buckle or just a 1-sided. Obviously, I'm using 1-sided. This works the same for a 2-sided. You just have to ignore the other side and make sure again that the prong is over to the other side. You're going to take your belt and you're going to fold up the end like this. You're going to take that loop and you're going to funnel it through your buckle. Once you've folded it through the buckle, you're going to keep pulling it until you have a loop inside of a loop. And you're just going to let that excess flap hang out because that is what we are going to pull to tighten it. We are going to be using the same scenario, but with the belt tourniquet. So once you have put your limb between the 2 loops, all you're going to do is take the end of the belt, the part that I said we're going to be pulling, and you're just going to keep pulling it until it can't go any tighter. The best part about the belt tourniquet is that it secures itself, so you don't have to do any type of special tying or any knots to make it secure. Again, it's important to note that in a real life situation, you want to pull this as tight as you possibly can. For me, obviously, I am not in a dire situation, so I did not pull it as tight as I possibly can, but you want to if this is truly what you need to survive. Thank you for watching this video, and I hope you learn how to make an improvised tourniquet using something as simple as a piece of fabric and a stick or an everyday item like a belt.